All right. I don't think it's gonna tell us anything. Although I guess while we at some point I should make sure that it's actually recording. Do you guys want to just um, go through them 1 through 3? Um, I've got them in the meeting invite.
Yeah, may as well.
All right. So I'll just read this out. It says, "What do we do with the website? Question mark. We've been trying to figure out how to deal with regions for a while. For now, I think we'll probably just leave it. But if someone wants to get involved and help us regionalize, that'd be super." So I guess one caveat to that is that I do want to talk to the folks in Music Libre, because I think I said this on the last one. They're pretty much already doing the kind of stuff that I would expect a regional org to do. So basically, they just need to know enough about what we're doing that when somebody says, "Hey, I found you guys, and I was wondering if there's some people in France doing this kind of stuff," then we can say, "Yeah, talk to Music Libre," and then they'll kind of know what's going on. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't really know. I think there are some instances of this where with the old, I don't remember any of the top off the top of my head, but with the old Creative Commons, the way they did regional networks, I think there were some organizations that took that on. You know, just like, hey, we're. It might have been CC Korea. I interviewed them like a decade ago. Yeah, I don't really remember, but I feel like there were some of those orgs that were, hey, we're this org, but we're also like the regional affiliate. Um, does that make sense to you guys?
Well, in terms of splitting things up as far as regionalizing where we're concerned for North America, would it be for us, pardon me, would it be for us CC USA and another one
Well,
for CC
yeah.
Canada? Or
Yeah. Separate question. I mean, that's where we wanted to go, but I just meant like, you know, is what I'm saying um about like an organization like Music Libre, sort of like being the France delegate, whatever we end up calling those. Does that piece make sense?
as far as them handling or being ones to represent for that region of the world, I mean, for that rudimentary definition, that it makes sense in that
Okay.
regard.
Yeah, I guess the point that I'm just trying to make is that like we don't need to. I don't know how many like orgs like that exist across the planet, but we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just sort of need to have like a network of folks that are kind of working towards a common goal. So I kind of wonder um, if that had been some of the turnoff in the you know in the past to people wanting to be involved, um, for that sort of stuff to be unclear. Um, but yeah, so I guess back to the I wanted to clarify because I said like I think we'll probably just leave it, but that comment was specifically about the website. Um, so what we could do and maybe should do, and I don't know if the best thing to do is to like have like like a slash US. Um, or I think probably to me the thing that would make the most sense would be to like have separate subdomains. So like a USA or North America or however we wanted to do it. Um, you know, dot friends of music dot org. So I think that would require us to change hosting providers, which is something that we've been kind of talking about doing anyway. Right now, we don't have a top level link, but I did start a. I don't remember what I called it. I may have to go log in. Have to log in and see what this is. It's regional. I'll try that. And then, yeah, okay. So I kind of just started this and then really, it was just sort of a like, hey, this is a thing that I'm thinking about sort of thing. You know, and this was just to point people in a direction, not necessarily to have, you know, a separate org. Um, but we could just sort of like put all of our North America stuff in a section here. Um,
I'm not
probably.
seeing what you're saying.
What was that?
What are you referencing? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, the people on the stream are seeing it, but you guys aren't seeing it.
Well,
Yeah. Well, that's easy enough to fix. Doesn't really matter, but all right. So yeah, this is just like I just started like kind of. I think I put these in alphabetical order. Yeah. So,
okay.
um, you know, it was just sort of like an idea I had during one of the working sessions, which plan to bring back in March and see if my wrist will behave better. Hopefully, it'll be warmer, so I think that'll be easier on the joints. And yeah, I mean, I don't even know. Like, I put a Netlabel here. I mean, I put Moki because I don't know anybody else in the Philippines. Maybe it doesn't make sense to have Lewis Ling and the Bombs. You know, I don't know. So, but this was sort of like just a place to dump things. Maybe it makes more sense to have like things in their native languages too. Um,
Right.
so, or maybe both English and like China and Chinese characters. Um, that probably makes the most sense actually. But yeah, so what are your thoughts, William? You've done the most with the website. Should we just have like a completely separate space for North America, or
Um, I don't know. I mean, um, I think we need to figure out what data we want on the website and then how we would organize that because, I don't know. It's
yeah? Well, I guess the
that data exists in other places, and the question is, are we pulling it in here? So
yeah. I mean, I guess ultimately the idea is that we'd have like someone step up to like have all of these different regions,
right.
um, and be like the person to manage that.
I
Um,
like the subdomain idea. So,
okay. Um, so
but
yeah, and then we can probably do a bit more with the subdomain. Um, and I don't know, you know, theme wise, whether or not we want to theme the region differently. Do you guys have thoughts on that? Like, do we want it to look like separate orgs, or do we want it to look like a cohesive org? I mean, I'm guessing I'm thinking like if if Music Libre is sort of like the dudes for France,
Right.
then it'll just like pop out to them.
Right.
And I don't actually even know what their how like do they even have a website? I don't know the answer to that. Join association. Yeah, so they do have a website. So yeah, we probably just point people here. So, although it looks okay, so thought I saw like 2006. Oh, okay, nuggets from the archive of the month. I was like, man, it goes from 2006 to that's a huge gap there. It is interesting that this is still CC 2.0 in 2020 since 4.0 was out, but whatever. Uh, I don't know why they're still using the 2.0 licenses. Both of those are doing that. Um, I don't know what reason that they would have for doing that. Um, but anyway, I mean, uh,
Yeah,
the
whatever they're willing to do, I mean, just support them. So
yeah.
don't
So
do anything that pushes against what they're doing.
I guess my point is mostly that if we're going to be pointing people to other sites completely, then I don't see a lot of reason for the themes of you know FCCM to be the same. You know,
Sure.
so um, okay. Well, that's probably a offline task on the subdomains, um, but I think we have a direction
You said the
on that.
domain expires soon?
Yeah, I think it's March 18th, but
Okay.
I don't know why that is the date in my head. Let's see here. Yeah, March 18th. So not a lot of time, but a little bit of time to um,
Yeah, in my dream world, we would have ccmusic.org, but that's like $1,000 at this point.
oh, is anybody using that? Is that a
I
thing?
don't think so.
Lander. Looks like that's a road to nowhere. I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe it's all ads. Maybe that's why nothing shows up. I mean, there's CC Music. There's probably that. There might be some other ones. Oh yeah, I remember these guys. Coming across them. Um, I don't know what the like is NA even like a thing. There's a CA. We could just embrace Canada and get the CA. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we can find another domain at a decent price, then that's probably all right. What is there like what surely
Make
some
offer.
what was that?
Just looking at the make offer
Uh,
process, it's like crazy.
CC CC.us. I'm just wondering. There's CC.us. Doesn't look like anybody's doing anything with that.
Oh, really?
I don't know what .us domains what they cost, but yeah. So, yeah.
It might be the way to go. Oh, well, this looks like you have to make an offer on that one too.
What was that?
Uh, at Namecheap, at least, it's saying you have to make an offer, just like it
Oh,
says for the .org.
hmm.
So I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know what it says if you put in one it doesn't know. Maybe let's see.
yeah.
Oh, unsupported TLD. Okay. Because I have .radio through a European thing. When you put .radio into Namecheap, it says unsupported TLD.
Oh,
Right. So I would guess it does know about US and it is taken, but I'm not sure.
all right. All right, so I think we have some direction on that. Anything else you want to talk about with the website specific to the US
I'm
stuff?
trying to upgrade my geeky skills, so still in process.
Sounds good. I guess I can push us back to here. Um, yeah, and then I mean, I guess going back to the layout. I mean, one thing we could do is, um, if we just kept the same layout, you know, and then just put all of these things, but they'd be U.S. related. I mean, the news would have to be like, yeah, we'd need like a second blog, I guess, for that. So, um, yeah, it could be.
You're saying to separate the US
Well, yeah,
entity.
I'd say one thing we could do is, I mean, not necessarily that we want to do this, but it's just an idea that we could just mirror this layout and then I don't know, like change the color to like red or something, like just or maybe like I don't know, like if there's like a um, image backgrounds are like sometimes not the
All right.
they can be kind of difficult, but let's see what we got here. So I mean, there's the easy like the flags. I don't know. This could be something a little more. Yeah, cropped me out into a new tab, so you guys can't see that. Well, I guess you can see it's on here little, but let's see what we got here. Some inspiration, maybe. Like a, is that like Czech or I don't know what? Is that like the Philippines? Oh yeah, Canada and Philippines. There we go. Yeah, so basically, I guess what I was thinking was something like this. Now, this is Canada and Philippines kind of like meshed.
Uh-huh.
If we had like a version of that, I mean, making that look good would be past my design skills, but maybe there's like a, you know,
For a
maybe,
color scheme for the website, you're saying?
what was that?
For a color scheme
Well,
for
I
the
wasn't
website?
even thinking like a color, maybe not just a color scheme, but maybe like, you know, right
A version
now,
of the logo?
yeah, or like, right now it's pretty minimalist the design,
Absolutely. Yep.
so maybe like if we had just like the like a logo on the left pane or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, but something to differentiate it. And again, it's sort of like I think it's kind of hard for it to really make sense unless you do like if we have five, like we get like the Russians involved, and then maybe they have a bear, right? The Russians, the bear is one of their symbols. Is
Sure.
that right?
Yep.
So
I think
like
so.
so if you have like some sort of like symbol that's sort of like on the left hand pane, and then everybody you got the same layout, and then obviously the URL is changed, and then
Yeah.
the Russian one's probably going to be in Russian, so that's probably a tale that that you've moved somewhere else. But nonetheless, like I guess the UK would be an obvious place where
Yeah.
It might look like a lot like the U.S. one, unless you like differentiate it in some way. So that's that's an idea. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, even if we just had a header that,
yeah,
just,
yeah, for sure.
so,
All right. Um, so this was a discussion, in and of itself, and I know we talked a lot about CC hits, um, but there's the CCMA. So I guess the biggest question is, do we want to do like a 2025 version or just skip it? Um, we have maybe a little more opportunity with like a narrower scope to maybe do something. Um, I don't know if people see value in that or not. Um,
It may be something that we want to table until 2026 because there is the matter of if we're going to set our focus for later on this year once Netlabel Day and Netlabel Week come around, we could very well have our hands full just trying to figure out things to do for that particular week.
Yeah, yeah. I guess what I'm thinking is like if we were to do something like we'd be announce it would be like announcing whatever we would do in like, mid-March. So, you know, um what does that look like? Like is it even worth doing something? Um I don't know. I guess what I'm thinking, because we had kind of decided not to do it, but then like now that we have a North American focus, we could do like maybe like North American awards, which the scope would be like obviously a lot less. Um, but I don't know. I mean, it's still like we'd have to be done kind of quickly. So I don't know. I don't have strong feelings about it one way or another, but
Even with a smaller focus, with it being national and not international, it's still, to me, it still feels like a lot of ground to cover.
yeah,
Only for me because musically speaking, every day within CC music for me is a day in uncharted territory where I'm always finding out something new, and that's the beauty of it. But I think I just think that the time to prepare would be too narrow to try and pull off something
okay,
for
yeah,
2025. But that's just me.
yeah. I mean that was kind of similar to my thinking as well. So I don't know, William, if you have any thoughts about that.
no, I mean, my thought is just, you know, what needs to be considered and how do we get it all considered and how do we have a feeling like there's a sense of the correct community is considering all this stuff. I
Yeah,
don't know. It's always my any kind of awards thing. It seems a little.
what we did before is we gave everybody. Well, we can. Um, it's the URL, right? Yeah. So I don't know if it was under. Yeah, so we have, we sort of changed it up a little bit here, but yeah. So this is a little bit, I mean, a shortened version. So the judges, there were like judge groups, which was like a important aspect of the early thing because I thought it would just be kind of people's, like their individual tastes is so varied that I thought that having like three judges, um, because it's like even if like it's a genre that like you don't listen to a whole lot, like you might still recognize that like um, there's something interesting happening in that.
Hmm.
Just so you might be able to be convinced in a panel to like leave it as like a nominee or something.
Okay.
Um, so that was my initial thought is that people could form. I guess this is like has been in my thinking about a lot of things is that if you can get you know like if you can get enough small units of people doing things, then they can those small units can build up to something more collective, which I guess is more or less the way the Fediverse works. I mean, obviously,
Hmm.
some instances are bigger than others, which would also be that would be sort of true of our like um, the sort of like CC music, the Federation of Planets sort of thing, like, uh,
The regions, right?
yeah, like the U.S. is bigger than, you know, the Isle of Man or Belize,
Sure.
so, um, but, together there's still like some power. But uh, I just couldn't get people to like talk to each other. Like it just like didn't work like at all. So we scrapped that and just had like a panel of judges until we still did the voting, but this is we started trying to do the region specific, and the idea with the region specific was um, that people would be looking at those regions and then they would tell the group like, hey, this is a really great rock track or rock album that I found in Botswana, and then like, oh, somebody else would be like, oh yeah, this is a really great like jazz album that I found in Paraguay, like. But again, like nobody did anything until like the end, and then they submitted like their five region. So like there was no like build up. Like like the idea was that we're combing the regions for to like build like a database for the genres.
Right.
But we ended up just like having to do the genres completely separately because we couldn't get people to do any work on the regions until like the very end. Um, so um, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
the
I mean, more useful to the artist is just, I don't know, like recommendations as it's going, as stuff is coming out, right? And then maybe you total that together at the end, and that's how you get an awards.
yeah, I mean,
And then you do a highlight day, which is the awards, but you're really highlighting all the time, and I don't know.
yeah, I mean that was sort of the idea. So like the peer tube is named, and I would change this if I could actually, but I guess it serves a purpose. Like the URL is the CC Community Music Awards. And the idea, back we used to, I think I've deleted most of them. Yeah, I actually have deleted all of them. But we were meeting every week and like playing videos. And the idea by branding it in under the CC CMA is that you know basically we're getting together as a group and determining on a weekly basis like which ones we thought were interesting, and then that would build up. But
Got it. Okay.
um, I couldn't get people to show up. So,
Yeah. That's the
and
whole CC hits concept that I was thinking, but I don't, I haven't built that. I haven't
yeah, well,
personally built
I,
that.
I wonder if, I
I want to give
wonder,
everybody reasons to do things, but
yeah, I wonder if it might make sense to have like, like once the, there's like a regional rep, then like those get included in the CC CMA, as sort of like a way for someone to like feel like it actually has some value to like be a regional rep. I don't know.
yeah, but maybe they would just be like an overseer. I mean, if we don't have the votes yet already or the participants yet, maybe once you get, somebody that represents an area, you wouldn't put it all on them to have to manage all the music from there, but maybe they would, I don't know, be able to give us some insight into certain things, or
Yeah,
that
yeah.
this artist says they're from there, but they don't really kind of represent the scene.
Well, yes, that was exactly what I wanted to happen with the regions. Like I had like a guy. I mean, part of the problem was is like when you divide it up by continents, it's like people don't
Right,
know.
right.
So we weren't able to get small enough units so that people felt like it was like their their region.
Yeah.
So uh, yeah. I mean, I think the thing, if we're gonna, the time, I mean, maybe we want to talk about question three and then come back to this. I don't know, but I think the time to get started on next year is probably now. So
Mm.
you know, um, yeah. Do we want to
If I
talk?
could,
Yeah, go ahead.
well, well, if I can ask, I was just going through my Creative Commons subfolder within my Gmail because I wanted to go back to around this time last year when the Google forms were going out for
Yeah,
the ballots for
right.
like album of the year and track of the year
Yeah,
and various subgenres. Like a number of us, a number of us were hooked into that and being sent those forms. I'm just wondering how many votes did you get back from those of us who were a part of that? Because there were
uh,
a number of us.
yeah. Not a lot of votes.
Okay,
I don't know the number off the top of my head, but
right,
uh,
right.
yeah, like I want to say like high single digits, but I'd have to double check to. Um,
So like maybe a quarter, 25% of the folks that you would have sent that thing out to
yeah,
on a regular.
yeah.
Yeah, because that was kind of my suspicion. That was kind of my suspicion.
And I do still have. I think I've left them all up on the PeerTube. Um, the nomination videos and did I take down? I might have taken down the winners because there weren't nobody was watching them. They're still on YouTube, but yeah, I think I took them down just because um, we didn't have people watching the videos. I mean, some of these don't have a lot of views still, but I think they're important. Like, Ty from Lords of the Trident was talking to us. And that's only got 2 views, but I don't know. I think they're a pretty big deal, so having them up on our page is probably a good thing. And then I don't know, maybe Victor probably is not. I like Victor, but I don't know how long that's going to stay with only 2 views. Uh, we got 20 gigs, so got to cull some of these at some point.
Mm.
But yeah, so but some of these too, like I haven't. I've already been culling the working sessions, but probably at some point these working sessions, I don't know how useful they are, like after that far after the fact. So probably we'll get rid of those as well at some point. But anyway, yeah. So the nomination shows people can go and watch if they want. They were I want to say they were longer, but all of these here are like over an hour and a half. But usually, we were closer to an hour, I would say. Um, then yeah, so Conan is a talker, so we went for a while. But yeah, most of these end up being close to an hour. So except the working sessions are like a half hour. So um, but yeah, so people can see what what the final outcomes were of the nominee stuff, and then on YouTube the voting. So, uh, but yeah, I guess the thing is we were already talking about, maybe this is like a good segue, but we've got Netlabel Week stuff, and then there's the potential for like the 25th anniversary stuff early next year. Um, so I don't know. Like so that's 3 projects. Netlabel Week, um, the CCMA, and then 25th anniversary stuff. Um, but do we think we have the resources to do all 3 of those?
No.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of. I
Yeah,
mean,
at present, probably not.
I mean, the hope is that with Netlabel Week we get some more folks involved. Um, but I don't know if that's enough time for like the 25th. So I don't know. I think the CCMA probably just needs to be dormant for a couple of years. Um, unless people wanted to bring it back as a Netlabel Week event, which was like always what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
But people just didn't understand like a mid-year awards thing. So,
Okay. Okay.
um, but the thing is, yeah, it's weird the first time you do it, but then it's like every year it's a Netlabel Week thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, and
Yeah, I mean,
that
I think go dormant then. Yeah, I mean, that solves for now.
yeah. I mean, the other thing, and this is another thing that like we have. Well, I mean, Omar has. I think Omar's come to terms with it the best that I think he probably can. But you know, if we wanted to, we could just do it like you know we could do something like if we wanted to like I don't want to say like if we wanted to get some reps doing an awards thing, we could just have like the Netlabel Awards, like the Netlabel Awards presented by, the CC Music Awards or something like that. Keep it like very focused on like net labels. Like if you're not on a net label, like it doesn't count. That limits the scope. Like maybe, um, maybe there's a way that we can, do some things that are kind of like, non, I think, um, there might be some opportunity to do some like different awards, like most releases in a year or something like that. Like it's just like, I mean, um, there might be some things that would be interesting for our community that might be different than like trying to be the Grammys. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, I mean, what I like about the Netlabel awards, I really don't like excluding people, but I really do love the idea that we are highlighting probably the number one type of entity that helps there be more CC music out there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like they are the ones doing the work more than
yeah.
anybody else,
Well,
right?
and it's like if you're so, and again, like if we can think of a way, like some sort of recognition that makes sense.
Hmm.
Maybe it's just net label of the year. Maybe it's just one award to start
Right.
with.
That might be
And
it.
and then and then like if it's about the net labels, then it's not like you're excluding, you know, see you're not excluding people that aren't on the net labels. It's just it's about the net labels.
Right.
So
That might be good. That'd be
and
really good.
Yeah,
okay.
that could work. That could work.
All right. So
That could work.
I don't know if I have a net label week document. I did it. The problem is going back and forth between browsers. Let me find it on the other browser. See, I don't use Firefox for this, so like I don't have like too much going on in the same browser as the video. Net label week.
I mean, most of them only do CC music, right?
Uh, it's an interesting question. I'm gonna say yes. But like there are some that definitely release things that even if like an album is CC, like they might have, um,
A track or something.
yeah, there might be some tracks on there
Okay.
that are covers and stuff. So they wouldn't technically be, even if like they're putting it out on Bandcamp as like a CC album, it wouldn't technically be CC. And then um, I don't know how many folks are doing the. So I've got this. I'll keep this in another browser. Um, so I've probably brought this up before, but um, I think it's probably worth bringing this up again. So I guess probably we're already in. Yeah, I was gonna say probably. Okay, so like these guys, um, this is Cheese and Potsy and Long John and and uh, and Yuck MC. So yeah, I don't know what. So copyright. So we I guess I think he did have it on all rights reserved, and now he's changed it to copyright dash alt. So I don't know what that means.
Hmm.
um, so and I don't know. So all the puck ones are here. I don't know about this one. I don't know why this one's why those two are under that. Maybe they probably for the same reason. But these guys are doing a lot of like samples of things that are like very obvious and very like, you know, not CC. Um, so all the puck stuff we've just used under. Let's click on here and see if we can get like if he's got like a definitions. Oh, okay. So he's just. I don't know um why it says alt, but uh, I wonder if the booklets is still PDF, and I don't know. It kind of doesn't matter, but my point is just that you know um, Mike was asking me, like what do we do about this, and I'm like, we probably don't want to release it under Creative Commons because then somebody might use it and then get in trouble, even if we don't
Right.
get in trouble. So just so but cheese and Potsy, all of their non-puck stuff is like Creative Commons. So we just decided to put all that stuff out. But then also, and so yeah, the copyright all I think is to distinguish from. So this is just like full copyright, I guess. Like I think it's yeah. So he just doesn't have like a
License section.
Yeah, that's just not like a license section on this one, I guess. So, but the like physical releases we had to for the distributor, we had to put them under all rights reserved. But they've got I don't know if he's got pictures of like the liners, um, but there's a little handout in there that like talks a lot about different Creative Commons musicians and stuff. And then obviously it's pointing people back to the website where there's a bunch of yeah. Are these all re-releases? No, I think so. This is saying Block Sonic re-releases, but we've also had. I guess it's because it's under Mind's ear. We've had the 40th anniversary. So basically like all of this Mind's ear stuff is uh is all copyright, and then
Yeah. I I don't know. I guess I'm just thinking of if they're. I guess I wonder how they work, right? So do net labels? They're usually how. I mean, I don't even know. I don't
they
know any
I
of it.
think I think they all work very differently.
Okay.
So like I think so these guys. This is Jeff Rosenstock's. So
Right.
pretty much everybody on here is like you know what
Yeah.
you would consider a professional musician. Like they're touring. Like it may not be like their only job, but like you know music is like paying the bills for everybody here.
Right.
Um, and you know, that's not the norm for net labels. But,
Right. But if you
Jeff,
get it through here, I think 100% of the stuff I've seen on here, and I think I've seen everything. It's all Creative Commons,
yeah,
and but you can find a lot of this stuff in other places
yeah,
as non-Creative Commons.
right, exactly.
I okay. So I don't. I mean, I guess. I mean, my only thing is I would want to the degree that we want to promote a net label of the year. I want to promote a label that's helping to try to. I want them to intentionally be trying to put out CC music. I don't. My thing wouldn't be. It would have to be 100% that way. Maybe other people would want it to be that way,
Yeah,
but
I guess my,
I want them to be like warriors in the movement. I guess.
yeah, well, I mean, um,
And whether they like tell artists they have to or not, if they're like intention, I don't know. If
yeah,
they're helping to find them and put them up, that to me is
yeah.
doing it. I don't
So,
know.
I don't know what like the definition um, that they're that Netlabel guide is using, or that Klong Klong Mu Klong Klong Mu is using. Um, but I'm not. I
Yeah.
I guess to me, if they're not, there was a time when this probably wasn't the case, but at this point, if they're not doing, uh, some stuff a under a some sort of sharing license, then they're probably not a net label, and they're probably just a digital label. I
Okay.
mean, maybe that's a distinction that like I mean, I don't know if that's a good distinction, like,
Right.
um, but net label is like a term that comes with like a lot of history. Um, like when it was first created, it was specifically, labels that were, releasing on the internet, which was you know, like not something that the major labels were doing. And now, of course, like, you know, everybody
Right.
does that. So I don't know. Maybe that's a distinction that we need to try to like, um, get out in the zeitgeist. Um, that a digital label is something different than a net label. Does that make sense? Like, I mean, like at like a very high level, like.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like I, it'd be nice to understand. I don't know how any good idea actually percolates through the system.
Well, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, if it's just like if it just makes sense in my head what I'm saying, then like, but this
Yeah.
does
Well,
having like,
we're coming at it from a we're framing it that way, right?
yeah,
So,
trying to think of like, I mean, I'm sure there are like, well, like, um, who is that? Is it Nuclear Blast? There's Nanowar is on a label. They um used to be CC and now are not. Um, I don't know if that's these guys or not, but it kind of doesn't matter. I mean, so Nuclear Blast is like a label that's been, a metal label that's been around for like, I don't know, decades.
okay.
I don't know how like far back, like here's Blind Guardian. There's a 19. Those are. How far back do these go? So this is a 1990 release. Like this is.
Okay.
So and it's pointing to the Blind Guardian Bandcamp page, and it's cool that they're using Bandcamp and everything. But like Vader, that's a big name. I mean, I guess if you're on Nuclear Blast, you're a big name of some in some by some definition, I guess. Um, but like, yeah, sure, these guys they're on Bandcamp. That doesn't make them a net label. Like I
Right.
guess you know. So um, yeah, there are some bands or some labels that have kind of like, I don't know if they ended up taking their stuff down, or maybe their first album um, was CC, and then it wasn't after that. So yeah, you can see all rights reserved now. But um, so see, this is under. a BY tag. I don't know how many of their things were under this under CC, but I found them
They're
because
meaning the artist?
yeah, the Warhorse here.
Warhorse. Okay.
Yeah, but then they're on Kill Rock Stars, I think is the name of it. But Caesar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can share the other tab. Is that just taking me to the same place? Yeah, I think it might be. Um. Yeah. So anyway, I feel like I've seen. Oh, you know, because these are yeah. So I think these are the same folks that did. Oh, who are those guys? They did. They had the song "My Mom's Prius," which is pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah, I heard
Um,
that.
um,
Did I play that? I know I heard that somewhere.
Five Fingers of Funk.
yeah, that's who it is. Oh, I don't know what they're might just be like Five Fingers. So
Yeah, there it is.
this got released on a label too, though.
Kill Rock Stars, was it?
Well, that's what I thought it was. Yeah, that's what I was trying to.
Yeah, I think all the way up. There might even be a link to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Kill Rock Stars.
Yeah, so I don't know how much of their stuff is CC. Oh, and one that this is actually so I mean Killer Rock Stars is again not a net label. But they do have some stuff that's CC. But an interesting case is oh man, brain no worky. They're based in New York. It's a collective. New York Classical Collective. If I go back to the archives on CC Music Awards, we'll see some of their stuff. Okay. Guess it's not that. Just archive. Okay. Let's just see here. New focus. Here we go. All right. I actually remembered to share this tab instead this time. So new focus recordings. I mean, they don't. Yeah. Well, so they do call themselves their label, collective label. So uh, I think literally everything under newfocusrecordings.bandcamp.com is under Creative Commons. I think these guys are arguably a net label. So they're calling themselves a artist-led collective label. Um, but unless they're pointing out to the artist feed. So here a lot of stuff is on their page, but the second one and then this one too goes out um, to the artist band camp, and so this one still is. So, it's just hit or miss. I've seen some stuff that's maybe they put their foot down and started telling people, hey, we're doing Creative Commons. No, okay. So here's one um, that again, if it's released on the New Focus Recordings Bandcamp, it's going to be Creative Commons. But if it points out to the artist page, it might not be. But I don't know that they necessarily see themselves as a net label. I don't know how long they've been around and if all their stuff is on Bandcamp. So this goes back to 2004 on Bandcamp. So um,
Yeah.
so I don't know what maybe it doesn't matter, but I guess my point is their net labels are doing different things. So um, let's see what they got in there about. Yeah, so 2004. So it probably is all on there. Um, so this was after Creative Commons. For some of the other things, Creative Control. Um, you know, but in any case, yeah. So uh, let's see here. If I close that, I think it's just going to end sharing. But we could go back to sharing something. I can just share the whole window this time. Better would have been a better decision. All right. So we've got the Net Label Week stuff here, and then we started doing talks, and then um, so I mean, we could say something like, must have done at least one Creative Commons release that year or something, as far as like, to be eligible. I don't know how strict we want to be.
I think that's the minimum. Yeah. I mean,
we could be more strict. I mean,
right.
I guess my only, or maybe we could do a percentage, because net labels release on different cadences. So, you know, some net labels might only have like a release over the course of a year.
Yeah. I mean, if
Um,
it's that label of the year, it's got to. I mean, yeah. I don't know. If a net label shows up and Taylor Swift decides to release something CC on that label, then they have a chance.
do we think one is sufficient, or should we require more?
I don't know.
We could do like
Well,
75.
considering, yeah, like a 75% sort of thing. I was
Okay.
just about to say that. I mean, particularly if you want to make sure that the the label that we are considering is CC forward,
Yeah.
that they are releasing more often than not music under Creative Commons licenses. I mean, just as you were saying with in the case of Kill Rock Stars, it's a brilliant indie label, but a lot of that stuff is going to be all rights
Yeah.
reserved. But it's
Right.
kind of wild that every now and again you have some things that are CC. Just with that little CC by NCSA tool, I've been finding things from like Ghostly International and Stone's Throw, two labels that I absolutely adore. I know good and well over the years that most of their stuff is all rights reserved, But the fact that there are some things from labels I'm totally ride or die for that is under a CC license. I mean, to me, that's kind of a bonus. I'm
Yeah.
not going to consider them a net label, but it's nice
Right.
to know that there are some things that I can rep for it in my show if I so choose.
For sure.
But yeah, 75%. I think that's a good route to go. I mean, that's that's more than half. It shows that it's CC forward within the history
Yeah.
of that particular entity that we're considering.
Um,
Yeah.
and the way I wrote it there is 75% over the eligibility period. And I think there's two reasons
Okay.
why we don't want to look further back. One
Mm,
is that just going through every like no one wants to do that. I mean, some of these
That's
net
true.
yeah.
labels. I mean,
Yeah.
Block Sonic's been around for 17 years, so
Right.
Hmm.
um,
Right.
So
and then
why eligibility period instead of just the last year? Is there a reason for that?
Yeah. So what we found during the CCMA is that um, releases that are like if you only make it a year, then um, for the when it was CCMA stuff in December got completely overlooked. Like a lot of musicians um, in the CC space. I say a lot. I don't know what percentage, but a non-negligible percentage. They might have some goal of I'm going to put out an album this year,
Hmm.
and then they might work on the final mixes and stuff over like the holiday period, and then they release it on December 31st. Well, if your eligibility period ends December 31st, nobody's going to listen to that. like you've excluded yourself. So what we decided is that we would do a 14 month period, and that way people aren't like freaking out because they miss stuff in December and November. Um,
Mm, okay.
now, um, you know, what that means as far as net label day. Um, I mean, probably there are going to be fewer releases coming up to net label day because people are holding on to them. But um, yeah, I mean, I don't see a lot of reason not to do 14 months. But also I don't think it's gonna be the same problem.
So
Um,
that overlaps then.
yes, yes. So this is the way that well, I don't actually know if they do hard dates, but the Oscars and the Grammys and stuff. I've looked this up at one point. So some of them I think have hard dates, but um, it's also about um, has something they say something about having being in the consciousness that year or something like you could
Um,
so this is how um you can have artists win like new artist of the year, but they've actually been like making music for a decade. um but the Grammys are like, well, we never heard of them, so they're new. That's basically their criteria for new musicians is, well, we just heard of them, so they're new. um so
yeah. I mean, I think if we just, yeah, I don't know.
I think I mean 14 months. Net label day is on the 14th. um we could I think that perhaps, as weird as it is, that 13 and a half months may actually be the best number. So that means June 1st we can stop paying attention to new releases. They'll be in next year, and we can worry about finalizing and looking. You can do the retrospective for that month and a half, or for June you can do that and get all your ducks in a row and be ready to present on net label day or whenever it ends up being. It doesn't have to be net label day, but I mean, basically that turns June 1st into the deadline, or I guess May 31st. Um,
Oh, okay.
I mean, you could just do, if you don't want to do 13 and a half months, you could do 13 months and just have a nice round number. I mean, I'm not opposed to 14 months. I mean, if anybody feels strongly, but I think having it at the beginning of the month is easy for folks. Like after, if you release on June 1st, you got to wait till next year, you know, basically. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be a hard cutoff because it's, you know, I mean, strictly speaking, it would be eligible, but like the reality is you've already made your list at that point. I mean, you know, you're starting to compile your list. Unless something comes out that is just like, absolutely, you know, like you said, unless like Taylor Swift comes with it out, I mean, like, you know, the album on, you know, June 30th. Well, I'm like, well, fuck, you know, like that's
Yeah.
obviously going to be the biggest album, you know, like so. Um, so you kind of want to leave that possibility out there, but you know, for the most part, like you know, you're done at that point. So, um, does June 1st seem like a good?
So when you say like looking backwards, what do you say? So you say like they're the they won Net Label of the Year for 24, 25.
Yeah, so I would just do it for you know that year, you know, and like
Okay.
you know, just say you know net label of the year, you know, for this
25.
year be 2025. Yeah. And the fact that it, you know, that might have been released in 2024. I
Okay.
mean, to me, doesn't really matter, you know, but because yeah, then it just gets kind of it's a lot of stuff to type out.
Yeah.
You know, it's less confusing, I think, mid-year, and you know, if you do it at the I think you know part of the reason why people struggled with it before is because I knew it would take the ambition of the like all the different like regions and awards and stuff that I wanted to do. I knew it would take a long time to compile that, so
Mhm.
I started it like I ended it much earlier. And I think that was confusing for people. Maybe if I held it closer to the date, but if we're just gonna do one, then
Yeah. No, I think when if yeah, if you're sticking with Net Label of the Year, then yeah, then I think you could yeah, you just can do the year and you can do a 14-month or whatever you want
yeah.
to range you want to do, and you're just doing it to coincide with Net Label Week, and you're good because kind of what is the Net Label that has had the biggest impact on recently, basically in the last. So, I mean, I would think it would. Is a jumpsuit probably would be the one right now. I don't know.
Yeah,
Get out of my head.
So I mean,
all right. Does that make sense? June what? Year one through net label week. Start year two. Don't tie it necessarily to net label day because you might we might actually have the announcement before net label day.
yeah. I mean, I think the eligibility period just doesn't matter as much when you're doing it about labels, because
Well, I
it's
mean, if
probably
we're
not going to be the issue that they dropped, three amazing, records the period just before this started, right?
well, I guess what I'm saying is if they do three releases in a year
Uh huh.
and one of those happens to not be Creative Commons, then they're not eligible. So you got to have a period of time where you're going back and counting their
That's
releases.
true.
So the number is maybe not super important. I mean, maybe the number even needs like maybe you completely just like sort of like divorce it from the actual award date and you make it like 2 years, and you go back even further. I don't know. That sort of like keeps somebody from like jumping in, um, like the new kid on the block all of a sudden winning Netlabel a year. Because you kind of have to be releasing Creative Commons stuff for 2 years if you do it then. I mean, maybe 24 months is the answer. I don't know.
Yeah, or you could just say of January of the previous year. But then you kind of want to say it's like, then you kind of want to name it that year. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
mean, you just
think,
want it to be the one that's had the biggest impact. How do you specifically say
yeah, I think June 1 is good. And then, I mean, then,
that? Yeah.
people are doing summer vacation and stuff. And, um, you know, I think that's, yeah. Okay. So eligibility must release, period. There was something else that I was thinking we should put on here, but I don't remember what
What's the
that
one that did the
was.
collectives?
Um, what was I gonna say?
ASPCA?
Yeah, I don't remember. I'll think of it at some point, I guess. All right. So we have not talked much about. I mean, we did kind of get into Netlabel Week stuff a bit here. Um,
Yeah, kind of merged those two things.
yeah. So do we want to um, meet next week and think a bit more about Netlabel Week? 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be, or at least on that Saturday, I'm going to be very busy. Um, but yeah, and then the week after that, I'm on call, or the weekend after that, I should say, which is not necessarily a no, but there is some possibility that I won't be here. Thoughts?
We can get another one in for next Saturday if everybody's free, especially with you having some busy weeks in the coming weeks.
Yeah. All right. All right. So next week is March 1st. I'll link this in here. Today. All right. So I just sent that out. Anything else you guys want to say? Oh, we're in like Inception here. Let me stop sharing so we do not get in Inception. Um, before I stop the stream here, is there anything you want to say to the people?
Last thing I'll say is with CC CMA being dormant for the time being, as we approach or as we enter into 2026, for the 25th anniversary of CC Commons is always going to be a good time to reflect. And particularly in terms of how the Creative Commons licenses have benefited the world of music. So, legacy projects are up to talk about. So there could always be some sort of moment where we talk about what has happened in terms of CCCMA.
Yeah,
One of those things.
yeah, and I mean, if we can get people interested enough to do it right, I think there's still the opportunity to do the Hall of Fame stuff. And I think the Hall of Fame stuff is probably going to be easier, at least like the first year, than the CCMA stuff is, because people know what's stood the test of time. Yeah, I mean, sure, there's some details as far as eligibility and stuff to work out, but
Mm.
I think that again, if we get the people that want to do it involved, then I think half a year is probably enough time, or close to half a year is probably enough time to make that happen. So that's probably something we'll need to figure out pretty soon after Netlabel week, though.
Right.
So,
Okay.